All right, happy Sunday. I'm going to report on my last week number 3, in terms of my training and preps for Western States 2021. But it was a crazy week in a lot of areas. So the big thing was politically, a lot of upheaval in Washington as the Electoral College was validated and Joe Biden is now officially the president-elect, and what happened with the protesters storming the Capitol building. On a personal level, a lot is happening at our house with our pool build. So they got a huge hole in our backyard and they're making nice progress. And alongside that, Rebecca and I have been doing a lot of yard work in terms of building a retaining wall in the side yard. So lots happening. And then on my work front, also a crazy week where we lost one of we're most likely going to lose one of our largest customers, and trying to make contingency plans to capture that business elsewhere. So lots happening there. But in terms of my Western States training, wanted to go through a couple of the highlights and lowlights from last week. So with my training overall was going pretty well, and I had a good run on Monday morning, nicely rested, felt like the effort was easier, and at the end of the run I had 6 strides that Coach Megan prescribed for me. And I guess I pushed something too hard, because after the run my left Achilles tendon got really sore, got swollen, and it was tender enough that I had a tough time walking the rest of the day on Monday. So through a lot of ice and through a lot of self-massage, I was able to get it ready for the following run on Tuesday morning, which was a 12-mile run, which was quite enjoyable because I was able to connect up with a local running group in St. George, and I was able to meet a few more people, and made the run a lot more enjoyable, spending a good portion of it chit-chatting with some new friends. So I think the person I probably spoke the most with on that Tuesday morning was Colleen, and she's an accomplished runner, but she's also very active in the running community, and she actually announces races. So it was quite interesting talking to her and about her background. But just like on Monday, after my run on Tuesday, I was really tight and really sore in the Achilles area. And again, I was hobbling the rest of the day. So I continued to ice. I continued to self-massage with kind of a version of Bengay, kind of a muscle ointment that has heat in it. So I was massaging that tendon, not the direction of the tendon, but crosswise. And I was able to find some advice on YouTube from some physical therapists, and it actually seemed to work pretty well. Wednesday, because of the soreness, I decided to run on the treadmill. I put the treadmill on a decline, which I thought was going to shorten my stride, which I believe it did. And I took it easy and had a good run, and probably had the best that my Achilles had felt all week. Which brought me to Thursday, where I had another 12-mile run scheduled, and that went really quite well. I was found that the pace was relatively easy to keep, and that my pain in my ankle was relatively low. So I think the pace that I kept for that run was somewhere in the 8:45 range. Then, interestingly enough, the next day, because I think the combination of that 12-mile run, the accumulation of the week, but also that evening I worked on the yard and did a little bit extra physical labor, which made Friday's run quite disappointing. It was scheduled for a 6-mile easy run at a 8:49 pace, and I struggled to keep, I believe it was like a 8:55, 8:59 pace, and I just felt really kind of sluggish. So got to bed early on Friday and woke up and ran again with the St. George running group on Saturday and felt really good. Now it was on the paved biking trails throughout the city and on the roads, and it felt pretty easy, and ended up running for the most part, I want to say like an 8:35 pace and maybe a little bit faster. And that was very encouraging, but I fully acknowledge that that's not the area where I need to work. I need to get on the trail, I need to get on the technical section, and I really need to be able to be more effective, and I need to be better on the steep technical stuff. So given what I was battling with my Achilles tendon this week, I felt like that was a little bit too risky. So just a few minutes ago, I got a text from my running buddy in Sacramento, David Sanderson, who is an extremely accomplished ultra runner. 2000, let me get my years right, 19, I was part of his crew team where he ended up running just barely over 19 hours at Western State. So phenomenal guy, a man of faith, and just a super example to me in terms of the way he balances his life. But he shot me a text and asked me to consider in my training adding some good downhill mileage that I have great access to in St. George, which I think makes a lot of sense given how much net downhill there is at Western States. But something that I haven't considered at all, which I think was really good advice, was he asked me to consider getting a wobble board to build up the proprioception and the strength in my ankle, which I promptly did. So I'm going to try to incorporate that into my training. So overall, things are going really quite well. Sure, it was a half step back with the tendonitis, but given some of my experiences with tendonitis in the past, it really seems like things are healing up well. And this self-massage that I've done is really quite effective. So knock on wood, hopefully next week this will be just a past memory, and it's not going to be a factor into my training at all. But right now definitely is a concern. So things are great. Really like the coaching that I'm getting from Coach Megan, and I'm excited about the opportunity to go sub 24. Until next week.